What if I told you that the key to success isn't about one big breakthrough, but rather the small daily habits that you build every single day? Imagine what your life could look like if you started each day with purpose, focus, and the right mindset to take on anything. Success isn't reserved for a lucky few. It's built through consistent action, and it starts with the habits you choose today. Are you ready to change the way you think, act, and grow? In this video, we'll dive into the daily habits that can brainwash you for success, shifting your mindset, boosting your productivity, and helping you stay on track no matter what life throws at you. This is about transforming your daily routine so that success becomes inevitable. Stick with me, and let's get started on creating the habits that will shape your future. Number 1, start every day with a focused and determined mindset. You wake up and already feel behind. You reach for your phone, scroll for a few minutes, and before you know it, your mind is filled with noise. You haven't even left your bed, and already the world has hijacked your focus. That's how most people start their day. Not with clarity, not with control, but with chaos. And that's exactly why their life stays the same. No direction, no discipline, no progress. If you want success, you need to take back control of your mornings. You need to condition your mind before the world gets a chance to shape it for you. You need to wake up and think like someone who's serious about changing everything. You don't need more time. You need better focus. You need real determination before the day begins. Not the fake kind where you tell yourself you'll try harder. No, the real kind. The kind that demands something from you. The kind that makes you uncomfortable. The kind that pulls you out of that lazy mindset you've let grow for too long. Starting your day with a focused and determined mindset isn't optional if you want to win. It's the price of admission for success. People love to talk about motivation. They wait for it to show up. But I'll tell you something, most people won't. Motivation isn't coming. You either build a mindset that produces results, or you stay trapped in the same loop you've been in for years. You want something different. You have to be something different. You don't get lucky by accident. You get lucky by showing up prepared. And preparation starts the moment you open your eyes. The people who win in life aren't smarter than you. They're just more prepared than you. They walk into every day like it's a test, and they refuse to show up unprepared. You want what they have, then stop waking up soft. Stop waking up empty. Stop waking up like your goals can wait. They can't. Start by asking yourself one hard question every morning. What am I committed to today? Not what you hope happens, not what you feel like doing, but what are you committed to? Because that's the question that reveals your real mindset. Most people are committed to staying the same. They just dress it up in better language. They say, I want to be successful, but their actions say, I want to be comfortable. And comfort has never produced anything worth remembering. I used to be like that. I used to wake up with no direction. I'd wait for life to push me before I pushed myself. And I paid for it with years of regret. But everything changed when I learned this truth. If I don't command my mind every morning, the world will command it for me. And the world doesn't care about your goals. The world will drown your focus in distractions. It will bury your discipline under excuses. It will feed your doubts and rob you of the energy you need to change. So I started waking up with a decision already made. I run my day or the day runs me. That became my rule. Not my wish, my rule. And I stuck to it like my life depended on it. Because it did. The truth is, your mindset shapes your life more than anything else. And if you don't set it intentionally every morning, it will be shaped for you by your fears, by your past, by people who don't care if you win or lose. So how do you start with a focused and determined mindset? You wake up early, before the noise, before the world starts talking, and you get still. You get clear. You get real about what today demands from you. Not what it allows, what it demands. You look in the mirror, and you don't lie to yourself. You don't hide behind your potential. You don't pretend your habits are harmless. You face yourself. You face your excuses. And you speak like someone who's tired of waiting for success to magically show up. You decide, what do I need to do today to move forward? Then you write it down. You don't trust it to memory. You don't leave it up to chance. You write it down so it becomes real, so you can see it, so you can't run from it. Then you read it out loud. You speak it like a command, because your words shape your focus. When you speak like someone who means it, your brain starts to believe it. You can't whisper your way to greatness. You need to speak like a person who's going somewhere. Then you move. You do something physical. You build momentum, because energy doesn't wait for you. You have to create it. You can't scroll your way into focus. You can't scroll your way into determination. You have to break the fog. You have to wake up the body so the mind can follow. And once your mind is clear and your body is alert, then and only then do you invite the world in. You check your phone after you check in with your purpose. You check in with your mission before you check in with anyone else, because your success is your responsibility, not your friends, not your bosses, not your partners, yours. That's how you brainwash yourself for success. Not by sitting around wishing for it, not by watching another motivational video and doing nothing after, but by taking control of the one thing you always have power over, your mindset. Do it for a week, and your life will feel different. Do it for a month, and people will start noticing something's different about you. Do it for a year, and your entire life will look unrecognizable. But it starts with one morning, one choice, one mindset. You wake up and ask, am I ready to dominate this day, or am I going to drift through it like every other? Because drifting never made anyone successful. You need to grab the day by the collar and demand results. That kind of intensity, that kind of focus isn't common, but it is required. You can't build an uncommon life with a common mindset. You can't win by accident. The truth is, most people lose the day before it even starts. They lose it in the first hour. They lose it in their mind. Not because they're not capable, but because they don't have a process. They don't have a standard. And when you don't set a standard, life will give you the lowest one it can. So raise the standard. Raise your morning. Raise your expectations, not from other people, from yourself. The moment you wake up, your first responsibility is to own your thoughts. Don't wait to feel inspired. Inspire yourself through action. Don't wait for permission. Give yourself permission to win. Don't wait for proof. Create proof by living like someone who believes they can. If you want to change your life, don't start next week. Don't start next month. Start when it matters most, the moment you wake up. Because the truth is, your future doesn't start in the future. It starts the second you open your eyes and decide who you're going to be that day. Not who you were yesterday, who you decide to be today. So what's it going to be? Are you going to wake up like someone who's already defeated? Or are you going to wake up like someone who's done waiting? Success doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the focused, the determined, the people who wake up and take control of their life before the world gets a chance to. And the best part, you don't need anyone's approval. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need all the answers. You just need one thing, a decision. Decide to stop wasting your mornings. Decide to start building discipline instead of excuses. Decide to wake up and act like someone who's serious about winning. Because if you don't, nothing changes. Not your habits, not your results, not your future. But if you do, if you commit to starting every single day with focus and determination, everything changes. Your energy changes. Your confidence changes. Your ability to handle pressure changes. Your results change. And slowly but surely you become someone no one can ignore. Not because you talked about it, but because you lived it. So don't just wake up tomorrow. Wake up ready. Wake up clear. Wake up determined. Wake up focused. And build the life you know you were meant to live. Because success is not something you find. It's something you build. Every single morning. One mindset at a time. You don't have to fake happiness. This isn't about pretending everything's perfect. This is about building mental discipline. It's about choosing a mindset that supports your goals instead of destroying them. That means cutting out the voices that feed your negativity. Some of those voices might come from people you care about. Friends, family, coworkers. But if they're feeding your mind with fear and limitation, you need to create distance. You need to protect your mindset like your future depends on it. Because it does. This is your life. And you are responsible for the environment inside your own mind. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you think about it. You can choose to see problems as growth. You can choose to see delays as preparation. You can choose to see mistakes as teachers. That's how you build the mindset of someone who wins in the long run. When you start choosing positivity, it will feel awkward. It will feel fake. That's normal, because your brain has been rehearsing negative thoughts for years. But keep going. Keep feeding your mind with better ideas. Read something empowering every day. Listen to something uplifting. Speak words of belief out loud, not just in your head. Train your brain to support you, not sabotage you. And when the negative thoughts come back, and they will, you don't panic. You don't shrink. You don't give them the wheel. You pause. You breathe. And you ask yourself, is this thought helping me move forward, or is it dragging me backward? You take a stand for your future. You stop agreeing with thoughts that destroy your power. You stop entertaining lies that keep you small. You stop believing that old voice that says, you can't, you can, you will, you must. Because there is no breakthrough without a new belief. If you want to experience more in life, you must first believe it's possible. Not in some vague way, but deeply, daily, repeatedly. The people who succeed long-term are not the ones who never had doubts. They're the ones who refuse to give their doubts the final say. They built their beliefs with discipline. They chose positivity like their life depended on it. And it did. Every time you choose a better thought, you're changing your brain. You're changing your patterns. You're changing the direction of your life. And over time, those little decisions stack up. They form a new identity. One that's strong, focused, and unstoppable. If you've been stuck, if you've been down, if you've been doubting yourself for far too long, this is where your comeback begins. Not when you get lucky, not when someone gives you a chance, but when you start choosing to think in a way that builds the person you want to become. The thoughts you allow will either open doors or keep them locked. They'll either lift your energy or drain your will. They'll either push you forward or trap you where you are. So choose carefully. Choose thoughts that remind you of your strength. Choose thoughts that focus on solutions, not problems. Choose thoughts that believe in your ability to grow, learn, and rise, no matter what life throws at you. Because when your mind is right, your life starts to move in the right direction. And when you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your entire future. Don't wait for confidence. Build it by how you think. Don't wait for a perfect day. Create a powerful mindset today. Don't wait for the world to cheer you on. Be your own source of strength. The change begins with a thought, and you get to choose it. Choose power. Choose progress. Choose positivity. Now go live like someone who finally understands that the most important voice in their life is their own. Make sure it's speaking the truth. Make sure it's building the future you deserve. Make sure it's loud enough to drown out every excuse. You've got the power. Use it. Start now. Number 2, take control of your thoughts by choosing positivity. You will never rise higher than the thoughts you choose to believe about yourself. That one truth, if taken seriously, can change everything in your life. Because no matter how many goals you set, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much effort you give, if your mind is filled with fear, doubt, negativity, and old voices telling you that you're not enough, you'll always sabotage your own success. Always. The war for success isn't out there. It's in here, in your mind. It's in the words you say to yourself when no one's watching. It's in the stories you repeat, even when deep down you know they're lies. It's in the way you choose to see the world, to interpret setbacks, to define yourself. And if you don't take control of those thoughts, if you don't choose positivity, you're handing over your life to patterns that were never meant to lead you. I've seen it too many times. Someone with all the talent, all the tools, all the knowledge, but they can't win. Why? Because they've built a mindset that's working against them. They've made negativity their default setting. They've trained their brain to expect the worst. And the human mind is powerful. It will always prove itself right. If you tell yourself you're unlucky, guess what? You'll see everywhere. If you tell yourself you can't change, you'll find proof every single day. If you tell yourself the world is against you, you'll start living like it is, and that becomes your reality. Not because it's true, but because it's familiar. Now think about that for a second. How much of your life right now is shaped by thoughts you didn't even choose? Thoughts that were passed down to you. Thoughts that came from people who gave up on their own dreams. Thoughts that were formed in moments of pain, embarrassment, or fear. Your brain is not your enemy, but it will become one if you don't lead it. That's why choosing positivity isn't about ignoring the negative. It's about taking your power back. It's about deciding that your future will no longer be ruled by the same broken beliefs that kept you small. This is where your life begins to shift. When you stop reacting and start choosing, you don't need anyone else's approval to start doing this. You don't need permission to start building a better mindset. You just need to decide that your thoughts are no longer allowed to bully you. You have to start filtering your mind the same way you filter your body. You wouldn't drink poison and expect to feel healthy, would you? But every time you feed your mind with toxic thoughts, thoughts of doubt, hate, blame, fear, you're doing just that. You're poisoning your potential. Success is not just about habits. It's about inner dialogue. You can work like a machine, grind day and night, chase every opportunity. But if your self-talk is destructive, if your beliefs are negative, if your thoughts are rooted in failure, you'll always collapse under the weight of your own mindset. This is where most people fall short. They chase results, but they don't fix their thinking. And that's like trying to win a race with the handbrake on. You don't need more speed. You need to release what's been slowing you down. So how do you take control of your thoughts? First, you become aware of them. That might sound simple, but most people don't even realize how often they're trashing themselves inside their own head. They've been doing it for so long it feels normal, but it's not. It's harmful. And until you call it out, it will run your life. You need to stop and ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind every day? What am I telling myself about who I am? About what I'm capable of? About what's possible for me? Are those thoughts building me or breaking me? Once you become aware of the negativity, you don't fight it with more negativity. You replace it. You replace every thought of failure with a decision to grow. You replace every thought of doubt with a belief that you can figure it out. You replace every thought of shame with the truth that your past does not define your worth. This isn't easy, but it is necessary. You're not going to wake up one day and automatically love yourself, believe in yourself, and think positively. No, that has to be trained. Just like your body, your mind needs consistent training, and that training starts with repetition. You need to speak the truth to yourself daily, even when you don't feel it yet. Especially when you don't feel it yet. You need to feed your brain with ideas, thoughts, and beliefs that pull you toward growth, that remind you of who you're becoming, that lift your energy and sharpen your focus. Number 3, commit to small daily actions that drive big progress. You don't need a miracle. You need a habit you won't quit on when no one's clapping. That's the truth most people ignore. They look for breakthroughs, big wins, overnight success stories. But what actually changes a life is doing the small, unglamorous things every single day that no one sees, that no one praises, that no one celebrates. Yet those are the very actions that separate winners from wishers. It's not about having a dream. It's about proving to yourself every day that you're serious about it. Most people fail, not because they lack the desire, but because they lack the discipline to stay consistent when results are invisible. They want change, but they don't want the quiet repetition it demands. They want momentum, but they avoid the stillness that growth requires. They want to feel powerful, but they refuse to do the daily work that actually builds power. That's the disconnect. Think about this. You're not stuck because you don't have the right strategy. You're stuck because you keep waiting for motivation, for clarity, for the perfect moment to act, and it never comes. Meanwhile, your life passes by one silent excuse at a time, and you wonder why nothing's changing. Let me tell you something uncomfortable, but true. Massive progress doesn't come from massive action all at once. It comes from micro decisions that compound daily. It's the water you drink when you'd rather grab soda. It's the 10 pages you read instead of scrolling for dopamine. It's the walk you take when your mind tells you to stay in bed. It's showing up for yourself when no one's watching. That's what builds self-respect. That's what builds identity. That's what builds unstoppable momentum. You don't need a new plan. You need a new standard. A standard where you commit to doing what matters even when it's boring, even when it's inconvenient, even when no progress is visible. That's the kind of commitment that forges a new future. Progress isn't supposed to feel exciting all the time. Most of it feels like nothing is happening. You'll do the reps and see no difference. You'll wake up early and feel tired anyway. You'll make sacrifices and not get recognition. That's where most people give up, right before the momentum kicks in. They think it's not working, but what they don't realize is that change is invisible before it becomes undeniable. You're not just building results, you're building character. You're rewiring your mind. You're teaching yourself how to act in alignment with your goals, not your emotions. That's real power, not the hype, not the rush, the consistency. I want you to remember something. Discipline doesn't come from motivation. It comes from identity. You show up not because you feel like it, but because you've decided that this is who you are now. You take the action, not because it's easy, but because it's aligned with the person you're committed to becoming. You don't get fit in one workout. You don't master your craft in one deep work session. You don't heal your past in one journal entry. You don't build wealth in one good month. And you don't transform your life in one grand gesture. You build your future with daily effort, stacked in silence, compounded in time. That's why it's so dangerous to chase results instead of routines. If you're only driven by outcomes, you'll quit every time progress slows down. But if you're driven by who you want to be, you'll keep going, because it's no longer about getting something. It's about becoming someone. It's hard to see it while you're in it. You'll have days when everything feels pointless. Days when your mind tells you nothing's working. Days when you question if it's even worth it. But those are the days that matter most. Those are the days that separate the dreamers from the doers. If you can push through when it feels like nothing's happening, you'll be the one people call an overnight success, when in reality you've been quietly building behind closed doors for years. No one gets to skip the boring parts. No one becomes great without embracing the grind. The ones who win are the ones who fall in love with the process. They build systems. They create structure. They reduce friction. They show up even when no one's clapping. That's the hidden blueprint. You don't need to change everything at once. In fact, that's how most people fail. They try to do too much too fast. Burnout, disappointment, collapse. Then they start over, again and again, stuck in a loop of frustration. What if you just picked one thing, one small, clear action that moves you forward? One thing you can control. One thing that makes you proud. And you did it today. Then you did it again tomorrow and the day after. Not because it's exciting, but because it's what builds your future. That's how empires are built. Brick by brick, not explosion by explosion. Look at your life. What's one small action you've been avoiding? One habit you keep saying you'll start? One change you know you need to make, but you've been putting off because it seems too insignificant? That's the one you need to commit to. Not later, not next week. Now, because the truth is, you're not afraid of hard work. You're afraid of starting small and looking like nothing's changing. But that's where the real growth lives. In the repetition, in the patience, in the ability to keep showing up when it feels like no one sees you. You have to be willing to be unseen for a while. You have to be willing to be consistent without applause. You have to be willing to be misunderstood, doubted, underestimated, while you quietly build something unshakable. The world doesn't reward effort immediately, but it never forgets consistency. Over time, those small wins add up. They build trust within yourself. They build inner strength. They build resilience. And before you know it, you've become the kind of person you used to admire from afar. You want big progress? Then start small on purpose. Not as a stepping stone, but as a strategy. One that you control. One that creates momentum. One that builds a life you're proud of living. Don't look for the next breakthrough. Look at your next decision. That's where the power lives. In that moment when your brain says, skip it today, and you do it anyway. In that moment when it feels too small to matter, but you do it with intention. In that moment when no one notices your effort, but you choose to show up regardless. That's when you're rewriting your story. It's not going to be flashy. It's going to be quiet. It's going to be steady. It's going to test your patience. But if you stick with it, one day you'll wake up and realize you became someone you used to only dream about. And it started with one simple decision. I will not abandon the small actions. I will not chase the hype. I will not rely on motivation. I will build with discipline. I will rise with structure. I will prove to myself that I can trust my own effort. That's the mindset that transforms lives. No shortcuts, no magic tricks, just commitment. So what's it gonna be? Will you keep waiting for some breakthrough to change everything for you? Or will you become the kind of person who builds their breakthrough brick by brick, through daily actions, quiet effort, and relentless consistency? You already know the answer. Start now. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for the right timing. Don't wait for a new year, a Monday, or a new month. Start with one action. Today, right now, and then don't stop. Because it's not about how fast you move. It's about how consistent you stay. The future belongs to those who show up daily. Become one of them. Be relentless in your habits. Be ruthless in your discipline. Be loyal to the vision you've committed to. And never again underestimate the power of doing something small on purpose, with consistency, and with a heart that refuses to quit. That's the path. Walk it, live it, own it now. Number 4, eliminate distractions and put your focus on what matters. If you don't control your focus, your future will be stolen by every meaningless distraction, begging for your attention. This is the truth most people won't say out loud. Your life is being quietly consumed, not by chaos, not by catastrophe, but by constant, subtle interruptions that seem harmless. But over time, they rob you of everything that matters. The scroll, the notifications, the endless noise, they're not just costing you minutes, they're costing you mastery. They're draining your potential. They're suffocating your greatness before it ever gets a chance to breathe. You're not failing because you're lazy. You're not stuck because you don't care. You're distracted. And that's a far more dangerous enemy. It's silent. It's seductive. It feels innocent, even productive sometimes. But it's killing your progress one click at a time. You keep reaching for your goals, but you never stay with them long enough to see them through, because your attention is hijacked before momentum ever builds. What's the cost of that? How many goals have you started but never finished? How many plans have you created but never executed? How many times have you told yourself you're going to change, only to find yourself, days later, back in the same loops, numbing your mind and avoiding the work? That's not a lack of ambition. That's what distraction does. It splits your mind, weakens your drive, and robs you of the deep focus that real transformation requires. It lures you into temporary comfort, while it quietly buries your potential under a mountain of things that don't matter. Let's be honest. You know what you should be doing. You know where your energy needs to go. You know the difference between meaningful work and empty motion. But knowing isn't enough. If your environment is built for distraction, your willpower will lose every time. And that's why this has to change. Not later, not someday. Now you can't build a legendary life in a mind built for chaos. You can't rise above the noise if you live in it all day. You can't hear your own voice if you keep filling your head with everyone else's. If your phone is the first thing you grab and the last thing you see before sleep, your focus isn't yours. It belongs to the world. And as long as you give it away, your power will remain untapped. Discipline isn't just about doing hard things. It's about eliminating the soft ones that slowly destroy your strength. That means cutting out the excess. That means saying no to comfort disguised as entertainment. That means choosing depth over stimulation, silence over noise, presence over performance. The most successful people in the world aren't superhuman. They're just unbelievably focused. They protect their time like it's treasure. They protect their attention like it's oxygen. They don't try to do everything. They identify what matters most, and they make that the center of their day, every single day. What would your life look like if you lived that way? What would happen if you removed every meaningless notification, every unnecessary tab, every distraction that leads nowhere, and instead poured that energy into the few things that actually move your life forward? Imagine if the time you spent mindlessly scrolling was spent learning, building, creating, refining. Imagine if instead of checking your phone every 10 minutes, you had blocks of deep, focused, uninterrupted time, where your mind could finally think, finally build, finally align with your true mission. You'd change fast. You'd build faster. You'd develop the one thing that multiplies every area of your life: focused attention. Because focus isn't just about productivity, it's about power. When you channel your energy fully into one direction, you become unstoppable. You move from scattered to sharp. You go from reactive to deliberate. You stop living by accident and start living with precision. But to get there, you have to be ruthless with distraction. You can't flirt with focus. You can't sort of want it. You either choose clarity or you live in chaos. There is no in between. Look at your environment. What's pulling your attention away? What's draining your mental energy before the day even begins? What are you allowing in your space that doesn't serve your mission? Be honest. Most people don't want to face it because they're addicted to the very distractions that are destroying their progress. But you're not most people. You're here because some part of you is ready to reclaim your mind. You're here because you've felt what it's like to waste your own time and feel the regret afterward. You've seen yourself underperform. You've watched your own discipline slip, and you're tired of that cycle. So make a decision right now. Nothing will matter more than protecting your focus. Start with small changes. Turn off notifications. Block out your day. Designate time for deep work. Create a space where your brain knows it's time to perform. Remove the temptation before it robs you again. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions. And more than anything, you need clarity. What is your real goal right now? Not the vague wish, not the maybe someday. The real one, the one that scares you, the one that matters, the one you keep pushing to the side. Because distractions are easier than discipline. Write it down, make it specific, make it urgent. Then design your life to serve that one thing. Anything that doesn't feed it is a distraction. Cut it. Every time you say yes to a distraction, you're saying no to your potential. Every time you choose comfort over progress, you're choosing regret over growth. Every time you pick your phone instead of your purpose, you're teaching yourself that entertainment matters more than evolution. You've got to break that pattern, not by trying harder, but by designing better. Build systems that remove the need for constant self-control. Automate your discipline. Make your environment serve your goals. If you want to focus, build a world that supports focus. And here's the beautiful part. When you do this, your life simplifies. You'll feel less stressed, less scattered, more grounded, more alive, because deep focus brings peace. It brings meaning. It brings results. You'll stop chasing 10 things and actually master one. You'll stop reacting to life and start leading it. You'll feel control return to your hands, not because everything gets easier, but because you become stronger. So here's what I want you to do next. Take 1 hour, just one. Turn off your phone. Shut out the noise. Sit in silence. Ask yourself one question. What do I want my life to look like 1 year from now if I eliminate all distractions and focus only on what matters? Let the answer guide your next action. Then repeat that process daily. Build a rhythm. Protect it. Defend it. Let it change you, because nothing will accelerate your progress faster than eliminating what slows you down. Nothing will sharpen your mind more than removing what dulls it. And nothing will rebuild your life faster than putting all your energy into what truly matters. You're not behind. You're just scattered. Bring your focus home. Protect your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. And when you do that, you won't need to chase success. It will find you. It will follow you, because you'll finally be showing up with full presence, full purpose, and full power. This is your moment. Not to do more, but to do what matters. Not to be busy, but to be clear. Not to chase everything, but to master the few things that create everything. So eliminate the noise, shut out the distractions, focus on what moves the needle, and watch how fast your life starts to change. Number 5, prioritize consistent effort over waiting for motivation to strike. If you keep waiting to feel ready, your dreams will die in the graveyard of hesitation. Think about how many moments you've wasted sitting still while life kept moving. Think about all the mornings you told yourself, I'm not in the mood today. Think about every time you let motivation be the driver instead of discipline. What did it get you? Temporary relief, no progress, a repeat of yesterday's excuses. You keep hoping for a wave of energy to crash over you. But what if that wave never comes? What if all you ever get is this? An ordinary moment with an extraordinary choice to make. You've been conditioned to chase motivation. You scroll through videos to get fired up. You listen to a podcast, read a quote, get hyped up for 5 minutes, and then what? It fades. Because motivation isn't built to last. It's a spark, not a flame. And if you build your life on a spark, you'll spend your days chasing new ones instead of building something solid. Here's what nobody tells you. Consistency is more powerful than inspiration. Showing up when it's hard, when it's dull, when it's thankless. That's where the real transformation happens. That's the moment most people quit. That's the moment you must push. Not because you feel like it, but because your vision demands it. You're not weak. You're just living by the wrong fuel. You're trying to run your life on emotions when you should be running it on commitment. Motivation is like weather. It changes constantly. But commitment, that's climate. That's identity. That's how empires are built. Not in bursts, but in brick-by-brick consistency that compounds over time. Stop saying you need to feel inspired to begin. You don't. You just need to act. And once you act, your mind follows. Action creates energy. Motion builds momentum. That's the switch most people never flip. They wait to feel ready before they begin. But readiness is a lie. Nobody feels ready. You become ready by doing. There's a reason why you admire the people you do. It's not because they had some magical moment of inspiration. It's because they refused to quit when it would have been easy to. They chose to keep showing up. They worked when nobody watched. They trained when it was inconvenient. They kept building even when no one was clapping. That's what consistency does. It separates the committed from the curious. You've got big dreams, but big dreams require small, repeated actions. Every single day, without excuses, without waiting, without needing to be in the mood. The world doesn't reward you for how much you want it. It rewards you for how often you show up for it. Wanting doesn't get you there. Working does. There's a reason you keep feeling stuck. You're starting and stopping. You're all in one day and invisible the next. You don't need more intensity. You need more repetition. You need to do the boring, unsexy, difficult stuff every day until it becomes your new normal. That's when the shift happens. That's when the breakthroughs show up. Not before. Never before. You've got to train your mind to understand that effort matters more than excitement. That one disciplined hour matters more than 5 hyped-up minutes. That progress is made not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, when no one is watching and no one is cheering, but you're still grinding. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Start with an average one and execute it daily. Don't wait for a clear path. Walk the unclear one with fierce consistency until the way becomes clear. You don't need certainty. You need movement. Every step you take creates clarity. Every rep you do builds belief. Think about where you could be 1 year from now if you stopped waiting for motivation and just got to work. Think about what your body, your mindset, your income, your confidence could look like if you just put in the work daily, regardless of how you felt. You wouldn't even recognize yourself. But that version of you doesn't happen through wishing. It happens through doing. You already know what to do. You've read the books, watched the videos, you've seen the routines. You don't need more information. You need implementation. Consistent, deliberate, focused execution of what you already know. That's it. Let's call it out. You're not unmotivated. You're untrained. Your mind is used to choosing comfort. It's used to retreating. It's used to getting hyped and then quitting. That's not a lack of passion. That's a lack of discipline. But the good news is discipline can be trained, just like a muscle. You start small, you show up, you keep going. Eventually it becomes who you are. Don't rely on morning motivation. Build a morning habit. Don't chase discipline with emotion. Build systems that keep you aligned. Your habits shape your life far more than your moods ever will. Some days will feel good. Some days will feel terrible. But both days count. Both days are necessary. Both days are part of the climb. Because the most successful people on this planet, they don't feel motivated every day, but they move forward anyway. They don't let emotions decide their effort. They let their mission do that. That's how you win. By being consistent when it's inconvenient. By showing up when you'd rather disappear. By keeping promises to yourself, even when nobody else knows. That's integrity. That's growth. That's power. You don't get stronger by avoiding hard days. You get stronger by facing them. You don't build greatness in sprints. You build it by getting up every day and doing what needs to be done, even if it's just a little bit. especially when it's just a little bit. Because small, repeated effort is what builds unstoppable momentum. It's what creates mastery. It's what builds an identity that says, I do the work whether I feel like it or not. And that identity, that's everything. That's what carries you when your feelings fail you. That's what builds confidence. That's what rewires your brain for success. Stop saying you're waiting for the right time. The right time is always now. Every day you delay is a day you drift further from the life you were meant to create. There's no rescue coming. No magic moment that makes everything easy. Just you, your choices, and the clock ticking. You've got a fire inside you. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. You wouldn't care about consistency if you weren't tired of your own inconsistency. You want to change. You're hungry to grow. So feed that hunger with action. Feed it with discipline. Feed it with relentless daily effort. No matter how small. One more rep. One more set. One more step. That's the mindset. You don't need to see the top of the mountain to take the next step. You just need to move. Keep moving. Every day. That's how goals are achieved. That's how lives are changed. Even when you're tired. Even when you're uninspired. Even when your inner voice says, not today. You move. You take that walk. You read that page. You do the hard thing. You don't bargain with laziness. You don't wait for ideal conditions. You create momentum through effort. And you do it again tomorrow, and the next day, until it becomes second nature. And one day you'll look back and realize, this was the moment everything changed. Not because of a motivational video or some huge breakthrough, but because you stopped negotiating with your excuses and started becoming the person who just does the work. This is your turning point. Not tomorrow, not next Monday. Now, so get up, move forward, build consistency, like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your future isn't waiting for more motivation. It's waiting for you to show up. Be that person, right now, every day. No matter what, and when you do, you'll never need motivation again. Because you'll have something far stronger. Momentum, identity, and the quiet power of knowing you never needed to feel ready to become unstoppable. Now go, be relentless, be consistent, build the life that discipline owes you. And don't stop until you're living it. Number 6. Develop self-discipline by taking responsibility for your actions. No one is coming to fix your life. It's on you now. The day you realize that, everything begins to shift. Because as long as you blame others, as long as you point fingers, as long as you give your power away to circumstances, you'll stay stuck. You'll remain a prisoner in your own life. Locked behind excuses disguised as reasons. But when you take full responsibility, not partial, not convenient, but full, radical, uncomfortable responsibility, that's when you begin to build real self-discipline. That's when your life starts to move. It's easy to talk about goals. It's easy to dream about a better future. But very few people have the courage to own the gap between who they are and who they could be. And that's where self-discipline is born. Not in perfection, but in ownership. The willingness to say, I messed up, and I will do better. No one else. Just me. That's the hardest truth to swallow. That every bad habit, every missed opportunity, every lie you've told yourself, it all came from you. But you know what? That's also the most empowering truth. Because if it came from you, it can be changed by you. You're not waiting for permission. You're not waiting for someone to rescue you. You're just deciding from this moment on, I take the wheel. Self-discipline isn't built by reading books or listening to speeches. It's built in silence, in solitude, in the moment you decide to show up for yourself, even when nobody else is looking. It's in the moment you refuse to make excuses. The moment you stop shifting the blame. The moment you feel the discomfort of being fully responsible and lean into it anyway. You say you want to change, then you must confront the real reason why you haven't. It's not because you didn't know what to do. It's because you didn't consistently hold yourself accountable for doing it. That's the truth. You've let yourself off the hook too many times. You've negotiated with your goals. You've justified your distractions. You've made being tired or busy your default escape. And now you're frustrated because deep down, you know you're capable of more. That frustration you feel, it's not a bad thing. It's a signal. A message from your higher self saying, We were meant for more than this. But it will stay a signal forever, unless you act on it. Unless you take responsibility for it. Not once, every single day. You've got to wake up and choose the harder path. The one where you take ownership of your time, your thoughts, your behaviors, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Because that's where growth happens. That's how self-discipline grows. Through pain, not pleasure. Through resistance, not reward. It's a muscle. You train it by doing the opposite of what feels good in the moment. You train it by saying no when your mind wants comfort. You train it by rising early, staying late, showing up when it's inconvenient, and pushing through when it's easier to quit. And every time you do, something powerful happens. You trust yourself more. You begin to believe your own words again. You stop being the person who breaks promises to themselves. And that internal alignment, that's where real power lives. Don't confuse self-discipline with self-punishment. It's not about being hard on yourself. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about holding yourself to a higher standard because you know what you're capable of. You know the potential you've buried under years of doubt, fear, and procrastination. And you're finally ready to dig it out. You've got dreams, but dreams require sacrifice. They require structure. They require you to do things even when the initial excitement wears off, because it will. And when it does, the only thing left is your discipline or your excuses. The world is not kind to people who wait. It rewards the ones who take initiative, the ones who get up when it's cold, when it's dark, when it's painful, the ones who stop blaming their past, their parents, their partners, or their problems, the ones who say, "This is my life, and I take full command of it." Every moment you delay responsibility, you delay your transformation. Every time you say it's not my fault, you hand your power to someone else, and you cannot build a strong life on borrowed power. You're not broken. You've just been living below your potential, and you know it. You've had glimpses of who you could be, those rare days where everything clicked, where you felt aligned, focused, clear. But those days weren't accidents. They were reminders of what's possible when you stop getting in your own way. And make no mistake, it is you standing in your way. Not your boss, not your partner, not the economy. You, your decisions, your patterns, your inability to own the outcomes you created. But here's the most beautiful part. The moment you take full responsibility, you take full control. It's not about guilt. It's not about shame. It's about power. It's about reclaiming the driver's seat of your own story. Because if your actions created the mess, your actions can build the masterpiece. It's time to stop lying to yourself. You know when you're slacking. You know when you're hiding. You know when you're playing small. That voice inside you, the one that gets louder at night, it's telling you to rise, to stop running from discipline, and start building it. You're stronger than your urges. You're bigger than your bad habits. But you won't outgrow them by hoping. You outgrow them by facing them, replacing them. Day by day, choice by choice. Discipline doesn't show up overnight. It's born in repetition. In the 1,000 small wins no one sees. In the consistent rejection of easy routes. In the refusal to make the same excuse twice. And here's the thing. When you build discipline, your entire identity changes. You stop being someone who tries. You become someone who follows through. You stop chasing motivation. You become the source of your own power. You stop being controlled by your emotions. You rise above them. This is your edge. This is your advantage. In a world full of people waiting to feel ready, you become the one who moves anyway. In a culture of distraction and blame, you become the one who owns every outcome. You become uncommon, unshakable, unstoppable. But you have to begin. Today, not tomorrow, not next week. Because discipline is not a switch, it's a decision. Made over and over again, until it defines who you are. So look in the mirror, ask yourself, am I proud of the way I've been showing up? And if the answer is no, don't run from it. Sit with it. Let it sting. Then make the choice that changes everything. Take responsibility. Own your flaws. Own your progress. Own your future. Nobody else can do this for you. And that's the point. Because once you realize that, you stop waiting for heroes. You become one. Now build your habits with purpose. Align your actions with your highest standards. Stop making excuses that feel good now and create regret later. Instead, build discipline that feels hard now and creates pride later. Because in the end, self-discipline isn't about restriction. It's about freedom. The freedom to wake up and know you're in control. The freedom to trust yourself. The freedom to move through life, knowing that your results are a direct reflection of your effort. And that freedom, it's earned through relentless ownership, through unapologetic responsibility, through a decision to stop blaming and start becoming. So what will it be? Keep living on autopilot, or rise into your real power. Take the wheel. It's your life. It's your time. Own it fully. Number 7. Track your progress to reinforce your commitment to success. If you don't track your progress, you're blindfolded on the journey to your dreams. This is the cold, hard truth. Without tracking your progress, you have no idea how far you've come, how far you still need to go, or whether you're truly moving forward. You're like a ship lost at sea, without a compass, drifting aimlessly with no sense of direction. But the moment you start tracking your progress, you start to gain clarity. You start to feel the wind at your back, and you realize that every small step, no matter how insignificant it seems in the moment, is a step toward victory. So let me ask you a question. How serious are you about your success? Are you just hoping things will get better, or are you actively measuring your growth? Tracking isn't just about numbers, dates, or timelines. It's about connecting with your deeper purpose and reinforcing your commitment to the person you're becoming. If you want to win, you must know where you stand right now. You have to measure your efforts. You have to track them so you can see how they add up. And most importantly, you need to hold yourself accountable, not just to the end goal, but to every action that leads you there. The reality is, success doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's a series of daily actions compounded over time. And if you aren't measuring your actions, if you're not tracking your habits, you're not creating the feedback loop you need to stay on track. You're just taking shots in the dark and hoping one hits the target. But what happens when you track? What happens when you measure? You start hitting the target with precision, and every shot you take brings you closer to your goal. Tracking gives you power. It's not about obsessing over every single detail or being perfect. It's about building momentum and seeing the progress in front of you. It's about creating a clear roadmap that guides you towards success. When you track, you get to see the evidence of your commitment. You get to celebrate the small wins that often go unnoticed. And those small wins, over time, compound into massive results. Let's think about this for a second. How many times have you set a goal, gotten excited about it, worked hard for a while, and then lost steam? How many times have you felt like you were spinning your wheels, unsure if your efforts were paying off, unsure if you were even getting closer to your dream? I know I've been there. It's discouraging when you feel like you're giving it your all, but there's no visible progress. That's where tracking becomes a game changer. When you track your progress, you have clear, tangible evidence of how far you've come. And let me tell you, the feeling of seeing even the smallest shift is one of the most powerful motivators you can have. It tells you, yes, this is working. Keep going. Don't quit. It reminds you that progress isn't always immediate or dramatic, but it's always happening if you're taking consistent action. One of the reasons we fail to track is because we don't see the immediate results we want. And in this fast-paced world, we've been conditioned to expect instant gratification. But the truth is, real success takes time. When you track, you create an objective measure of your progress. You shift your focus from short-term results to long-term growth. You stop judging your success based on the fluctuations of a single day or week and start measuring it in terms of months, years, and even decades. Think about the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the creators, the ones who build incredible success. What do they all have in common? They track their progress. Every single one of them. They track their wins, their failures, their setbacks, their breakthroughs. And why? Because they understand that every piece of data is valuable. Every experience is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to adjust course. If you're not tracking, you're missing the data that can help you fine-tune your approach. You're flying blind, and that's a dangerous way to live. So why do most people resist tracking their progress. One of the biggest reasons is fear. Fear of what they'll see. Fear that they haven't done enough, that they're not as far along as they hope to be. But here's the truth. Tracking isn't about judgment. It's about clarity. It's about gaining insight so you can adjust your actions and keep moving forward. It's about knowing exactly where you are so that you can make the changes necessary to move closer to your goal. Here's another truth. Progress is messy. It's not linear. There will be setbacks. There will be times when it feels like you're not making any headway. But when you track, you can see the bigger picture. You can see that even when it feels like you're stuck, you're actually moving forward, just not at the pace you expected. And that makes all the difference. Tracking isn't just about checking boxes on a to-do list. It's about looking at your habits, your decisions, your mindset, and asking yourself, am I truly moving toward the person I want to become? Am I living in alignment with my goals, or am I getting distracted? And when you track, you see the places where you're excelling and the places where you're slipping up. It gives you the insight you need to correct your course and stay on track. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Tracking isn't always fun. It's not always easy. There will be times when you feel like it's a chore, but those are the moments that matter most. Because the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often the ability to push through the discomfort. Success is built in the moments when you're tired, when you don't feel like doing it, when you don't feel motivated, but you do it anyway. And when you track, you reinforce your commitment. You remind yourself why you're doing this. You make the invisible visible. Think about the days when you want to quit, when you've had enough, and you're on the verge of giving in. What happens then? What keeps you going? The progress you've already tracked. You remember the wins, big and small. You remember the work you've put in, the discipline you've cultivated, the sacrifices you've made. You realize that quitting now would undo all the effort you've already invested. And that realization gives you the strength to keep moving forward. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of success as a distant dream. But success is just the accumulation of small, consistent actions taken over time. It's the daily commitment to tracking, to learning, to improving. When you track, you build momentum. You start to trust the process. And that trust fuels your motivation to keep going. And let's not forget the power of celebration. Tracking your progress gives you an opportunity to celebrate every victory, even the small ones. Every step forward is worth acknowledging, because those small victories add up. They give you the energy to push through the challenges. They remind you that you're on the right path. If you've been putting off tracking, if you've been thinking that you'll start tomorrow, today is the day to change that. Start tracking. Even if you don't know exactly how, write down your goals, track your habits, measure your efforts. Start small, but be consistent. Because consistency is the key that unlocks progress. Don't wait until you're perfect. Don't wait until you're 100% ready. Start now. Track today. Track tomorrow. Track every step of the way. Because in the end, your success will not be determined by what you wish for, but by what you track and act on. So commit to tracking your progress, and you'll find that every day is a step closer to the person you're meant to be. This isn't just about goals. This is about building a mindset that thrives on progress. This is about building a life that you can be proud of. Start tracking today and watch the transformation unfold. Number 8, surround yourself with people who encourage your growth. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Let that sink in for a moment. The truth is, the people you surround yourself with either push you forward or pull you back. They shape your mindset, influence your actions, and ultimately determine the trajectory of your life. So who's in your circle? Are they lifting you up, encouraging your growth, and challenging you to become your best self? Or are they holding you back, draining your energy, and reinforcing your fears and doubts? Let me ask you, how much longer are you going to stay around people who don't believe in your potential? How long will you tolerate the negative influences that keep you stuck? You are worthy of more. You deserve people who see the best in you, who remind you of your power, and who push you to reach higher. Think bigger and take bolder actions. It's time to surround yourself with people who will help you grow. I'm going to tell you something powerful right now. Your environment is more powerful than you realize. The people you spend your time with have an enormous impact on your success. They either help you build momentum toward your goals, or they slow you down. If you're not careful, you can spend years of your life trapped in a cycle of negativity, doubt, and mediocrity, all because the people around you are too comfortable with staying exactly where they are. But growth requires discomfort. Growth requires challenge. Growth requires the courage to surround yourself with people who will make you uncomfortable in the best possible way. It's time to stop settling. It's time to start curating your circle with intention. You don't need to keep people around just because they've always been there. You don't need to stay loyal to people who don't encourage you to evolve. If the people in your life aren't helping you grow, it's time to move on. It's time to surround yourself with people who will challenge you, hold you accountable, and encourage you to push beyond your limits. Let me tell you something from experience. The right people will change your life. I've been lucky enough to be surrounded by people who saw my potential before I did, who believed in me when I doubted myself, and who pushed me to take action when I was afraid. And I wouldn't be where I am today without their support. They didn't let me settle for anything less than greatness, and they held me accountable when I wanted to give up. That's the power of surrounding yourself with people who encourage your growth. And let's not pretend that it's always easy. You will lose people along the way. You will have to make tough decisions about who to keep in your life and who to let go of. But this is the work that must be done, because you can't afford to hold on to toxic relationships that drain your energy and hold you back from your true potential. You can't afford to keep people around who are content with mediocrity when you're aiming for excellence. So how do you start building a circle that encourages your growth? It begins with self-awareness. You have to be honest with yourself about the people you're spending the most time with. Do they inspire you? Do they challenge you to be better? Do they believe in your dreams and support your journey? Or do they drain you, make you question your abilities, or hold you back from taking bold action? This process isn't about cutting people off out of spite. It's about making room for the right people. The ones who will elevate you, who will help you grow, who will remind you of your power when you forget. It's about creating a space for positive influences to flourish and for negative influences to fade away. It's about curating your circle with people who align with your vision and who are as committed to their own growth as you are to yours. Think about the people who have made a real impact on your life. They're the ones who have been there when things were tough, who believed in you even when you couldn't see it yourself, and who encouraged you to keep going when you wanted to quit. These are the people who will hold you accountable, who will call you out when you're slacking, and who will celebrate with you when you win. Surround yourself with these kinds of people, and you will be unstoppable. Now, I'm not saying that everyone has to be perfect. No one is. But there is a difference between someone who is striving to grow and someone who is content staying stuck. You want to be around people who are committed to their own personal development, who challenge themselves, and who inspire you to do the same. When you're surrounded by people who are always learning, always evolving, and always pushing their limits, you can't help but be motivated to do the same. On the flip side, think about the people who have held you back. Maybe they've told you your dreams are too big, or maybe they've subtly discouraged you when you've taken risks. Maybe they've made you feel guilty for wanting more, or maybe they've simply been content with their own small world, not understanding why you want to break free from it. These are the people who are comfortable with mediocrity, and they will try to pull you down to their level because they're too afraid to rise themselves. But you can't let them. You must protect your energy and your vision. And you must surround yourself with people who see you for who you truly are and who encourage you to step into your greatness. So let's get practical. How do you find these people? How do you build a community of like-minded individuals who will push you toward your dreams? Start by seeking out mentors, coaches, and role models who have the wisdom and experience to guide you. These people can offer invaluable insights and help you navigate the path to success. But also look for peers who are on the same journey as you, people who share your values and who are working towards similar goals. These people will be your support system, your sounding board, and your accountability partners. They will be there to celebrate your victories and to help you pick up the pieces when you fall. And don't forget to give back. If you want to attract people who encourage your growth, you must also be someone who encourages the growth of others. Become the person who lifts others up, who celebrates their successes, and who offers support when they need it most. The energy you put out into the world will come back to you, and by lifting others, you'll attract the kind of people who will lift you in return. The key is to be intentional about who you allow into your life. Don't just accept anyone because they've been around for a long time. Don't just keep people around because you're afraid of losing them. You deserve to be surrounded by people who support you, challenge you, and encourage your growth. Don't settle for less. Curate your circle and watch your life transform. In the end, your success isn't just about what you do on your own. It's about the community you build around you. It's about the people who lift you up when you're down, who challenge you to think bigger, who support you when you're struggling, and who celebrate your wins with you. Surround yourself with these people, and you'll find that success comes much easier. Your growth will be inevitable, and your dreams will become your reality. So look at your circle right now. Are they encouraging your growth? Are they pushing you to be better? If not, it's time to make some changes, because you are worthy of more. You deserve to be surrounded by people who believe in you, who challenge you to rise higher, and who inspire you to become the best version of yourself. Don't wait. Start curating your circle today. Number 9, build mental strength by pushing through discomfort every day. If you run from discomfort, you run from your own greatness. Every dream you've ever had, every goal you've ever set, every version of yourself that you've imagined but haven't yet become, all of it is hiding behind one thing: discomfort. And until you stop avoiding it, until you face it head on and go through it, not around it, you'll stay stuck in the same place, living beneath your potential, wondering why nothing ever truly changes. Growth doesn't come from ease. It's born in the trenches, in the pain, in the silence of your own struggle. Mental strength isn't something you're born with. It's not gifted. It's built. One hard day at a time, one tough decision after another, one moment of self-discipline where you could have quit, but you didn't. It's forged in the fire of your own resistance. And the truth is, no one is coming to do that work for you. There is no shortcut. There's just you, choosing to step into the discomfort rather than away from it, knowing it's the only path to becoming the person you're meant to be. Most people avoid discomfort like it's the enemy. They treat struggle like it's something to be feared, something to be escaped. But here's what they don't realize. Discomfort is the greatest teacher you'll ever have. It reveals your limits and then invites you to break them. It shows you who you are and then dares you to become someone stronger. If you're feeling discomfort right now, that's not a sign to stop. That's a signal you're moving in the right direction. You're in the process of becoming. I want you to remember a moment in your life when everything felt hard. Maybe it was heartbreak. Maybe it was financial stress. Maybe it was loneliness, depression, failure, or uncertainty. But you made it through. You survived. You grew. And looking back, even though it was painful, you see that it made you stronger. That's the blueprint. That's how mental toughness is built. Not in comfort, but in chaos. Not in convenience, but in confrontation. You've already proven that you can endure more than you thought. Now it's time to make that endurance a way of life. Do something every day that makes you uncomfortable. Not just once a week. Not when it's convenient. Every single day. Wake up earlier than you want to. Go to the gym when you don't feel like it. Speak up when your voice shakes. Say no when it's easier to say yes. Do the thing your fear is trying to talk you out of. Because every time you do that, every time you push through discomfort, instead of running from it, you become stronger. Not just in the body, but in the mind. You build discipline. You build resilience. You build the kind of inner power that can't be taken from you. And that's the point. The world will test you. Life will throw challenges at you. People will doubt you, criticize you, betray you, and disappoint you. If your mental strength is weak, you'll break. But if you've been training it, if you've been pushing through discomfort every day, then when the real tests come, you'll already be prepared. You won't just survive, you'll rise. There's a reason the most successful people in the world intentionally do hard things. It's not because they enjoy suffering. It's because they understand something most people don't. That voluntary discomfort creates involuntary strength. They take cold showers. They lift heavy weights. They fast. They delay gratification. They stretch their limits on purpose. Not because it's fun, but because it's transformative. If you want a different life, You need to do things differently. You need to make discomfort your ally. Here's the truth. Mental strength is not about pretending you're okay when you're not. It's not about being emotionless or stoic for the sake of appearances. Real strength is about staying grounded when everything is shaking. It's about staying focused when your mind is screaming to quit. It's about showing up when no one is watching, working hard when no one is cheering, and doing the right thing, even when it's the hardest thing. You want confidence? It comes from earned struggle. You want clarity? It comes from being still in the middle of chaos. You want peace? It's waiting for you on the other side of the storm you keep avoiding. Everything you say you want is on the other side of discomfort. And the only way to reach it is to go through that discomfort again and again until it no longer controls you. You don't need motivation. You need habits. You need rituals. You need to hardwire discipline into your life so deeply that even on the days you don't feel like it, you do it anyway. That's how mental strength is built. And guess what? You're going to fail sometimes. You're going to fall short. That's okay, because failure isn't weakness. Quitting is. As long as you keep showing up, as long as you keep trying, as long as you keep facing the discomfort head on, you are growing stronger than you were yesterday. The problem is, we've been conditioned to seek comfort in everything. Fast food, easy entertainment, shortcuts, instant gratification. But the cost of constant comfort is mental weakness. It's a soft mind, a fragile spirit, a life that feels hollow and unsatisfying. If you want to feel alive again, really alive, then you've got to choose challenge. You've got to rewire your mind to love the pain that comes with growth, to embrace the difficulty that builds real character. You are capable of more than you realize, but you'll never access that power until you stop taking the easy way out. You must become the kind of person who does hard things, not because they're forced to, but because they choose to. That choice is everything. That choice is what separates the average from the extraordinary, the dreamers from the doers, the weak from the mentally strong. It's not going to be comfortable. It's not supposed to be. But that's the point. Every time you push yourself, when it would be easier to stay safe, you're sculpting your future. Every time you train your mind to move forward despite the resistance, you're creating the foundation for an unbreakable life. It's slow, it's quiet, and it's brutal, but it works. And when the world throws its worst at you, you'll be ready. Not because life is easier, but because you are tougher. Mental strength isn't about feeling brave. It's about being brave. It's about doing what's right, not what's easy. It's about choosing progress over pleasure. It's about being your own hero when no one else believes in you. And it starts now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel more ready. The only way to get ready is to start pushing through discomfort right now. There are no hacks. There are no loopholes. You've got to wake up every day and face the hard things over and over and over until one day, what once felt impossible becomes your new baseline. That's when you realize just how powerful you've become, not because the world gave you permission, but because you earned it. You became the kind of person who refuses to give up, no matter how hard it gets. That kind of strength can't be bought. It has to be built. So push through the resistance, push through the laziness, push through the fear, the self-doubt, the excuses, that discomfort you're feeling right now. That's the gateway to everything you want. It's not the enemy, it's the initiation, it's the test. Pass it daily, and you'll unlock a life you never thought possible. Now is your time. Make the decision to build yourself from the inside out. Choose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. Choose the path that challenges you, not the one that soothes you. And every day, when you feel that discomfort creeping in, lean into it. That's your training ground. That's where your strength is born. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for it to get easier. Choose now. Choose growth. Choose discomfort, and become mentally unstoppable. Number 10, challenge your limits daily to grow beyond your comfort zone. If you're not challenging your limits every single day, you're choosing to stay exactly where you are. And that's not living, that's existing. Every dream, every ambition, every goal you've ever had, they all lie on the other side of your comfort zone. And yet most people play it safe. They get comfortable. they settle for less. They let fear dictate their lives, unwilling to step outside the familiar and risk failure. But let me tell you something. Staying comfortable is the fastest way to ensure you never grow. You'll never achieve the extraordinary by choosing the path of least resistance. It's the daily challenges, the discomfort, the struggle that transforms you from average to exceptional. You see, the moment you choose to challenge your limits, that's when the magic happens. That's when you stop being a spectator in your own life and become the player, the creator, the architect of your future. Every time you face a new challenge, you push yourself to do something you thought was impossible. And when you succeed, even if it's just a little bit, you break through another barrier, unlocking the next level of your potential. That's what growth is. That's how you evolve. But this isn't just about achieving big, audacious goals. It's about the small daily victories that accumulate over time. It's about waking up each day and deciding that today is the day you'll do something that forces you to stretch beyond your comfort zone. Maybe it's something as simple as taking that cold shower, making that uncomfortable phone call, or saying no when you usually say yes. The more you challenge your limits, the more you expand your capacity for greatness. It's not about doing one big thing, it's about doing one hard thing every day. The truth is, there's no magic pill for success, no easy way out. If you want to be great, you've got to choose to be uncomfortable. You've got to choose to face your fears, to take risks, to fail and fail again, until success comes. But here's what most people miss. Failure isn't something to be afraid of. It's the price of progress. Every time you fail, you learn. Every time you fall, you rise again, stronger, wiser, more resilient. But you'll never experience that growth if you don't push yourself to the edge. I know it's hard. Trust me, I do. It's easy to stay in the comfort of the familiar, to stay in the routine, to let the fear of failure paralyze you. But here's the thing, you've got to reframe that fear. Instead of running from it, you've got to run towards it. Fear is not a sign that you should stop. It's a sign that you're about to break through to the next level. Fear is not your enemy. It's your ally, pushing you forward, urging you to evolve. Every time you feel fear, it's the universe giving you a test, telling you that you're ready for more. The real question is, are you willing to face it? This is where most people fall short. They back away from the challenge because they don't feel ready. But guess what? You'll never feel ready. That's the point. You'll never feel prepared for the leap until you take it. You'll never feel like you've earned the right to succeed until you've failed and tried again. And you'll never realize just how capable you are until you step up and challenge your limits. Day in and day out. The comfort zone is where dreams go to die. It's where your ambitions and goals get buried under the weight of excuses and self-doubt. But the moment you decide to challenge your limits, the moment you decide that comfortable isn't enough, you create the space for growth. You give yourself permission to evolve. You give yourself permission to fail, to fall short, to learn, to grow. And in that space, you find out what you're really made of. Think about it. What if you woke up tomorrow and decided to challenge yourself in just one small way? What if instead of staying in bed for an extra hour, you woke up and immediately took action on the hardest thing you've been avoiding? What if instead of taking the easy route, you took the road less traveled, the one that's uncomfortable, that scares you a little? That's how you build character. That's how you become the person you want to be. That's how you achieve the things you thought were impossible. Every challenge you face is an opportunity for transformation. Every uncomfortable moment is a chance for you to show the world and yourself that you are capable of more. It doesn't matter how small the challenge is. What matters is that you step into it with intention, with the belief that you are stronger than you think, that you have what it takes to push through it, and that the discomfort is only temporary. The results, the growth, the strength you gain from pushing your limits will stay with you long after the discomfort fades away. Let's get real for a moment. You're not going to grow if you keep playing it safe. You're not going to achieve anything remarkable by staying in your comfort zone. Comfort will never get you where you want to go. Comfort is the enemy of progress. Every time you step outside of what's familiar, you stretch yourself. And in that stretch, you discover new strength, new potential, and new possibilities. You start to realize that the person you thought you were is nothing compared to the person you can become. But I know how easy it is to get caught up in the idea that you're not ready. You might be thinking, I'm not strong enough, not skilled enough, not prepared enough. Let me stop you right there. You are enough. Right now, you have everything you need to challenge your limits, to push beyond the person you were yesterday, and to become the person you're destined to be. The only thing standing between you and your goals is your willingness to face the discomfort and keep going, no matter how tough it gets. Here's the key. The more you challenge your limits, the more you'll realize that there are no limits. Sure, there will always be new challenges, new obstacles, new fears to face. But each time you rise to meet them, you'll grow stronger. And each time you grow stronger, you'll realize that what you once thought was your limit is now just a stepping stone to the next level of your greatness. Your potential is limitless, but you can only unlock it by pushing yourself further than you thought possible. So what are you going to do? Are you going to stay in the same place, stuck in your comfort zone, wondering what could have been? Or are you going to step up, face your fears, and challenge your limits every single day? The choice is yours, and the power is in your hands. Remember this, every time you face a challenge, you grow. Every time you do something hard, you expand your potential. Every time you push through the discomfort, you transform into the person who can handle anything life throws your way. So start today. Challenge your limits, embrace the discomfort, and become the person you've always been capable of being. You are stronger than you think. Now prove it.